Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tauros All Access. I'm Evan Epstein, joined by Coby Brault, as we're getting you ready for the weekend series coming up against the Minnesota Mallards here in the Pepsi rink at Mesa Arena.
Yeah, it is good to stay home back-to-back weekends. One of the few times this season where we get 2 straight weekends here at the Pepsi, and we actually get next weekend too. So we're a little spoiled in the month of March here for sure. But yeah, huge momentum coming from last Saturday's game, that 2-goal comeback in the third period, arguably one of the biggest wins of the season for the Tauros.
Yeah, an incredible performance by Jack O'Hanison.
Unreal.
Who had the hat trick. The overtime winner gave him the hat trick. Just an incredible game. And the Mallards kind of coming in on the opposite ends of that spectrum. A 10-game losing streak for the Minnesota Mallards as we take a look at the Noodles numbers.
Yeah, Noodles numbers, as they do with a lot of the teams in the bottom half of the Central, heavily favoring the Tauros. Like you said, Mallards coming in on a 10-game losing streak. As an expansion team, we'll call it growing pains for them for sure. As I think that's the wrong Noodles numbers, but either way, the numbers heavily favoring the Tauros, no doubt about it. We got, almost 2 more goals per game than them, and they're giving up almost 3 more goals per game than us. Definitely two teams heading in very different directions, but you'll have that, people that have been around for a long time know that year one for the Tauros, is in their expansion season, they only won 9 games, so definitely part of when you first join the league, and especially when the Mallards joined, definitely got a late jump on their roster last offseason. So a team that's, still fighting. We saw that a few weeks ago with Watertown. Watertown sitting in 7th, Mallards in 8th, but Watertown was able to get it done. Biggest difference was Watertown had a rocking crowd, crazy home atmosphere, specialty jerseys, all that, whereas the exact opposite here for the Mallards. They'll be coming into the Thunderdome that is the Pepsi rink at Mesa Arena, but that's why you play the game.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's something that Billy Batten and Cody Campbell emphasized over the past couple of days, is that you can't take this series lightly. Look back in the month of January, and the Mallards were able to pick games from the Bobcats and the Aberdeen Wings. Now, with that being said, they do have the worst goal differential in the NAHL, lowest goals per game, most goals allowed per game. So the numbers definitely stick out, but they have shown the ability to go out there and beat some of the top teams in the Central Division.
Yeah, and you think about that very first matchup against them back in, it was either October or November over there in Forest Lake. It was 6-5 in OT that the Tauros ended up getting it done. So definitely a team that the Tauros have had a lot of success with, but it's not like, you think about North Iowa last year, one of the worst teams statistically in NAHL history. The Mallards aren't quite at that level, so should be hopefully a good weekend, hopefully 4 points for the Tauros, but should be some good hockey.
Yeah, and one player to watch for the Tauros, he might not be on the highlight reel like you see Jack O'Hanison, but Billy Batten has been terrific in setting up both O'Hanison and Jesse Yahala over the past 8 games, 10 assists, 2 goals. He's kind of the behind-the-scenes guy on that line.
Yeah, and Ken had him as his player to watch. I want to say it was Saturday, this past weekend on the pregame show. But yeah, I mean, that line of Yahala, O'Hanison, and Batten has been probably, you could argue, the most consistent line for the Tauros the entire season since Game 1 against the National Development Team all the way back in September. So yeah, I mean, Bats is he's a guy that, like you said, isn't always, you can't highlight all 3 guys, but O'Hanison obviously gets the shine, Tauros all-time leading scorer. The list goes on in terms of his career accolades, but Batten's come in this season and definitely been a difference maker. I mean, 55 points in 46 games is insane, especially with the amount of games that we have left to play. So, yeah, Bats hopefully can keep it rolling. Hopefully that whole line can keep it rolling and provide that matchup problem as they have all season.
And Billy Batten had a hat trick against the Minnesota Mallards back in December on the road in Forest Lake. So Batten, a good guy to catch up with.
That hat trick was on Teddy Bear Toss night, actually, here at the Mesa.
Here?
Yep, and that was actually the fastest hat trick in Tauros history. All 3 goals coming within like 7 minutes of each other, I want to say. So yeah, Bats definitely has the Mallards number and is somebody that I'm quite positive they're game planning for this weekend.
Well, he's got to be if those are the numbers, he's put up as of late. So had the opportunity to catch up with Billy Batten and get his thoughts on the upcoming weekend. I'm here with Billy Batten. Billy, back in December, you had a hat trick against the Minnesota Mallards. How much do you enjoy playing the Mallards?
I just try and treat it like every other game, but having that success is obviously makes it a lot more fun. So.
The team as a whole scores 6 goals a game against the Mallards. Just as a team, what has allowed the Tauros to continue to rack up the scoring offense?
I think even though their record isn't great, we try and treat them like we're playing the top team in the league, and we just get on them hard and force their D to make mistakes, and we capitalize on them.
Having not played the Mallards since December, is there any challenge now that you face them about 3 months later?
Yeah, definitely. I think they got a bunch of new players. It seems like their roster is a little bit different, so we're going to have to treat them like almost a new team, so we have to come in ready.
You now have 10 assists over the last 8 games. How have you been able to continue to set up Jack O'Hanison and Jesse Ahala?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting in great spots, and then they're calling for the puck, so they know that I'll get it to them if they're open. So.
All right, thanks, Billy.
Yep, no problem.
So, Billy, you seem to have a lot of success when the puck's on your stick. What do you do in your free time just to make sure that your shot's on point when it comes to game time?
I spend a lot of time with my buddy Dane Ramirez, 120 pucks a day minimum. I beat him in pig pretty much every day, so that's what it comes down to.
You heard it here first. Billy Batten, number 34, Minot, Minnesota.
Well, it looks like Dane Ramirez is coming to take my job, but he'll be out on the ice this weekend against the Mallards. Tauros looking to pick up 4 points for the first time in 3 weekends, 2 points against the Watertown Shamrocks, and then 2 points against the Aberdeen Wings. And it's going to be a really interesting weekend around the Central Division. The Bismarck Bobcats playing the Austin Bruins for the second weekend in a row as we take a look at the upcoming series this weekend.
Yeah, and if it's anything like it was last weekend between the Bobcats and the Bruins, goals will be at a premium. Just 2 goals total scored in that entire weekend series, one by either side as they split that. Watertown and North Iowa, and then a huge matchup between the 4 and the 5, St. Cloud and Aberdeen, about as tight as it gets, 54 points for St. Cloud, 52 for Aberdeen. So definitely a lot of good hockey being played around the division, and that all eyes are on Bismarck for sure. Obviously got to take care of business here at the Pepsi, but if one team could sweep the other, that would kind of give us a clear picture. Honestly, as a very biased Tauros fan, I don't even really know what we're rooting for here, with 1 point separating first, tied with Austin, with 71 points, and we got 4 with the Bruins coming up at the end of the month here. So it's kind of a 6-1, half dozen in the other scenario there. You just hope that somebody sweeps somebody to give a little bit of separation, but either way, 4 points on the line here, just the same. Tauros got to take care of business.
Yeah, Coby, I think like you said, it doesn't really matter. The one thing that matters is that neither of those games go to overtime,
Yep.
right? You don't want to see that 3rd point distributed. The Tauros had leaped into first place for a brief moment after sweeping the Bismarck Bobcats just a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Now they're 1 point behind Bismarck after that loss in Watertown. So I think realistically, the hope is that they split once again. Both teams pick up 2 points. If the Tauros can pick up 4 points, they'll go back into first, 1 point ahead of Bismarck. They would then be 2 points ahead of Austin. Austin having played one less game, but realistically, we're expecting them to pick up those 2 points because that extra game is against the Minnesota Mallards.
Yeah, and another thing worth noting, just looking, 1 through 4, like we said, St. Cloud hanging on to that 4 seed right now. They were supposed to play a Wednesday game against North Iowa, one of those rare moments in time where the state of Minnesota and the state of Iowa actually got hit with inclement weather, and we didn't. So they ended up canceling that game. It was supposed to be played, I want to say yesterday or Tuesday, I can't remember, but that's a game that's going to have to be made up before the season's over. So you're looking at one of those 2 teams is going to have to play, if not both, going to have to play 3 games in 1 weekend. It'll be very interesting down the stretch, but I mean, this is just the Central Division at its best. 1st through 3rd separated by 1 point, and then 4th and 5th separated by 2 points. I mean, you can't ask for much better on all fronts. And in the toughest division in the North American Hockey League.
And that's why everyone has Bismarck and the Tauros circled on the calendar for that final weekend of the season coming in mid-April. As that could be the determining factor between who picks up the number 1 seed, has home advantage throughout the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. and it'll be interesting to see where the Austin Bruins stack up heading into that weekend. But we're looking way in the future.
Yeah, way too far ahead.
So
no doubt. And the other thing too with the Bruins, last time we saw the Bruins was that weekend right before Christmas break. One of the rare weekend sweeps that the Toros have had against them this season, and so definitely got to get back with the Bruins. Luckily, they'll have 4 chances to do it 2 weeks from now. Got the Mallards this weekend, family weekend next weekend, which we're obviously super pumped for, and then the Bruins for 4.
And so, well, we've just about covered pretty much everything there is to talk about when it comes to Toros hockey, but we do need to talk about our arena manager here, Bob Gillen, who was recently elected to the North Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. A huge honor. Bob does so much work, not only here at the rink, does great work with Minot High as their statistician. He's been a longtime coach and has truly done great work for this sport.
Yeah, and Bob actually the state high school statistician, and he's also the administrator for the North Dakota High School Hockey website. He's been doing that for decades. Anyone that talks North Dakota hockey at the high school level mentions Bob, and we're fortunate enough that he runs our beautiful rink here, does an incredible job doing that. And, like you said, absolute honor to be inducted into any Hall of Fame, but especially the ND High School Hockey Hall of Fame. So congrats to Bob. And you were able to catch up with him? Or was it Lauren?
I was able to catch up with him this morning. An absolute privilege to talk with Bob, to get his thoughts on his induction into the North Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. I'm here with Bob Gillen, the rink manager at Mesa Arena. Bob, you were recently elected into the North Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. How does that accomplishment feel?
I was very honored at the start and quite surprised. I'm the chairman of the Hall of Fame committee for the North Dakota Amateur Hockey Association. So when they called me with the fantastic news, I was kind of surprised and taken away because I'm on the committee. But they did it a couple months ahead of time when I was missing from one of the meetings, and took care of their business and got me nominated and approved at that time, and then made the call a few months afterwards, and went in this I guess a week ago here during the West Region Hockey Tournament.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations. And I know, as you were just mentioning, you do a lot more in the world of hockey than just working here at the rink manager. I know you've been involved with the Minot High team. Can you just walk the audience through kind of everything you do in and around the game?
Yeah, it's been over 30 years since 95, 96 when I first started as my first hockey director job down at Hayes and Beulah here in North Dakota, and I got my degree in Parks and Recreation and a minor in coaching, and I coached high school hockey in Hayes, and was kind of the start of everything. And then I just kept saying yes to every opportunity that came my way, and just kept filling my time as I went through my career here. But yeah, I've been with the USA Hockey Coaching Education Program since 1996, both in North Dakota as the state coach in chief, and then as the associate coach chief for the Minnesota district. And then in 2007, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming broke into a 12th district of USA Hockey, which is called the Northern Plains District. So I was the first ever coach in chief at that time. And then I moved away to Colorado in 2010 for 2 years, came back and was hockey director and Park and Rec director in Crosby, North Dakota, and they built their new rink at the time. And then I transitioned over to girls. I started coaching girls hockey. Well, then they needed a girls rep, so then I became the Northern Plains District Girls Council rep, and I'm still in that position today and serve those 4 states on the national board of USA Hockey. I'm coaching Tier 1 14U girls currently with Matt Stocker, who's the president of the association, so I'm doing that in the spring and the fall. I guess most notably, people know me for the high school hockey website, which I just finished my 26th year doing that, which is kind of an entrepreneurial thing I've been doing. And North Dakota High School Activities has allowed me to do that with their high school boys and girls programs. So I've been maintaining all the stats and doing that website for those programs now, and I'll be starting my 27th year coming up this fall. And obviously then I moved here in 2016 and transitioned from being a hockey director now to actually being on the rink side of things. And so that's been a great transition with my age and everything now to kind of get away from the on ice and dealing with that kind of thing and transitioning more just now to doing behind the scenes stuff to provide the opportunities for the teams and the programs.
I mean, it seems like you've done it all kind of over your career. Is there one job or a couple of moments that really stand out to you?
I think the biggest thing is, being now from scheduling games and being on the ice with teams and running camps and clinics and practices to now on the backside, you understand. I think it helps going from that side of things to being then on the rink managing side of things, because there you're actually on the ice. You kind of know as far as the boards, the ice conditions and those kind of things. Now stepping back after being a coach and a player, you understand what kind of the standards you need to have. Versus if you got into maybe being a rink person first and then coming back being a hockey director, second part of your career, you're just kind of learning all that stuff. So that's kind of helped, because I think the other thing too is I know a lot of the players in the game. I know a lot of the coaches around the state that come here for youth and high school, the junior teams and those sort of things. I've been around long enough now for 30 years. They know me, I know them. And so those relationships are built, so that kind of helps. They know when they come here what I'm about and kind of how I like to run things and what my expectations are when they come. And I also know what the teams want as far as ice conditions. And, we have board issues that we're trying to work through and some of those things. But I think it's just after all these years, you get those relationships, you get those contacts, you get the networking, and I think that just helps overall with everything that you do. But I think the biggest thing I've learned is just, we're here, whether we're coaching, hockey directing, or doing what I do, managing a rink, we're here for our participants, whether it's the young kids, you guys as Tauros, who are providing opportunities to hopefully move these guys into Division I. The college teams that are, here to play. We're just here to provide a recreation setting for the fans, the teams, the players, and provide the best atmosphere and facility that we can for those activities to happen. So I think it's just every day, to me, it's work, but to me it's not work, because every day is different. I get to be around hockey, or figure skating, runs the ice show, which is fantastic every year, and I never miss that. I'm always make sure I'm here for the full ice show, and then they have their competition dates, and that's fun to see. So I just like being around, and it's fun to see. There are challenges, and there are some headaches to the job, but it's just fun to see the kids of all ages being here, playing, the fans. We have great fan support, great facility. I love this facility, and I just couldn't think of another thing I'd be doing right now other than what I'm doing.
Sounds like a good place to come into work. Kind of talking about your coaching career, is there one game, kind of one goal, one moment that really sticks out to you and kind of just creates a long-standing memory for you?
There's a lot over 30, but I think it was my stepdaughter she was 8 when I met her mom, but she was never into hockey. And so we started when we first met, we were in Grand Forks, and she started playing. And then when we moved to Colorado, she didn't play for 2 years. And then we moved to Crosby, she got back into playing. And our first year that we were there as a 12U, my first year in Crosby, we ended up winning the state tournament for the North Dakota State 12U tournament. And being from a real small town, we only had about 11 players on the team. And to be able to do that with her, especially just starting out and then having 2 years of not playing in Colorado and then coming her first year into Crosby and getting to share that moment with her. And then my wife to help coach a little bit with us as well. So I think as a family, just to come back and see her and experience that with her was kind of neat. And then the next year, she stepped into being a goalie because we didn't have a goalie then when we got to 19U. So she just went full force, never playing goalie in her life, to being goalie for 3 years. And so I think winning that state tournament was kind of fun to share that with my stepdaughter and my wife, and especially doing it in a small town. You don't have a lot of players, and to be able to do that, that was kind of a neat moment for me personally. I've had a lot of great ones, but that one was pretty neat when you have, to do it with your family and then have your stepdaughter who never grew up with hockey being able to just jump in and then be a part of that, and then to be able to coach and share that moment was pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic, and a huge transition to just jump into kind of playing goalie. So you mentioned earlier that when you're on the board for the North Dakota Sports Hall of Fame. So they did it behind your back. Where were you when you got the call? And what was your reaction? Yeah,
I was actually in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. We had our Tier 1 girls had games out there, and we happened to be in our period break. And one of the dads whose daughter's on the team's on our North Dakota board as well. So obviously my other coach was running the state hockey meetings back in North Dakota, so he couldn't be on the trip with us. So he already knew what was going to happen, but at period break I had a missed call from one of the other Hall of Famers that I actually got in Dennis Nybo from Bismarck. Now he's in Devil's Lake, but he actually called me and left me a voicemail. Hey, you got to call me right away. So at period break, I called. Well, Coach Leif already knew what was happening, but so I called and said, "What's up? I'm here in Chippewa. I'm in between periods. Is there an emergency?" And he just says, "How does it feel to be number 58?" And I said, "Well, I'm 52." I said, "I'm going to be 58 in 6 years." I said, "But thanks." Kind of thought he was joking. He goes, "No, 58." And I said, "Dennis, I'm 52 years old. What's 58?" He goes, "Okay. How does it feel to be the 58th member of the North Dakota Hockey Hall of Fame?" So he kind of, and I just kind of got, I'm in the middle of game right now. I'm thinking game, but totally shocked. And I said, "Well, how can I be?" I said, "I'm on the committee. We only had one person that we approved." And he goes, "Well, they did it 6 months ago behind your back. So I'm just calling to let you know that the board ratified it while you were gone this weekend at the state meeting, but you're in." So at that time, I'm still thinking, no, I got to go and address the team. We have a game going on. So it still really hasn't hit me. I mean, it was great to have it here, and then for Minot to make the championship, it was a packed house. It's happened. Then I went right to the Grand Forks of the state hockey tournament. So it really hasn't hit me yet, but it will. Because I'm still working. Usually, you get these things when you're retired, or some have been deceased that we've honored, and they don't get to experience it, but. It's going to hit me someday. I'll have the plaque and I'll sit at home and catch my breath, and but it was totally caught off guard.
Yeah, congrats again to Bob Gillen on the Hall of Fame induction. We could only hope to get inducted into any Hall of Fame one day. Maybe there'll be a Tauros Hall of Fame one day. But yeah, last thing we got for you guys, talking Minotoro's Booster Club. One of the easiest clubs on planet Earth to join. It is $15 for a single person to join, or you can have the whole family join for just $30. It's your passport to all events which are being planned for the season. They do a pumpkin carving right around Halloween, Christmas party, and then honestly, there's a club newsletter, voting privileges. You can have a say in what the club does for the team. Really, really cool way to be a part of the Tauros. And speaking of those cool special events that they have, Evan, we got one coming up, don't we?
Yeah, they got a members-only event coming up on Tuesday at Parkett Elementary School. It's going to be bingo night. That'll be at 7 p.m. You can scan the QR code there. That'll take you to the Minotoro's Booster Club website. So make sure you scan that code if you want to attend that event. And it's a great cause to supporting the future of the Tauros players. Yeah,
and the Tauros Booster Club, their whole existence is to support the team and provide educational opportunities for the boys. So, very easy if you're a diehard fan, if you're a season ticket holder, may as well just, join the Booster Club and become even more a part of the team.
All right, and with that, one last time, Tauros home this weekend, March 7th and March 8th, Friday and Saturday, 7:35 p.m. puck drop against the Minnesota Mallards. And after a very long episode of Tauros All Access, that will do it for us. As always, QR code over there takes you to the Tauros links tree. Go and buy tickets for this weekend. And with that, we'll see you on Monday.